What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. Today we're going to talk about the California Youth Authority. Now, just about everybody has heard about Pelican Bay SHU, Corcoran SHU. There's also Tehachapi SHU in California as well. And what I think most people do not get and do not know is that YA had their own versions of the SHU, except instead of SHU, which stands for Security Housing Unit, they had the IWP, which was the Incorrigible Ward Program. I've talked a lot about the difference between YA and the CDC. In the Department of Corrections out here in California, you have certain rights. There are certain rules. They're written. You get the Title 15 issued to you in your fish kit. When rules violations occur, there's specific remedies for that, we'll call them, right? Or punishments. And you would think that because the California Youth Authority was juveniles, that they would be protected more. And you would be absolutely wrong. See, in the California Department of Corrections, when you break a rule, like I said, in the Title 15, there's a set limit. There's expectations. There's things that you can actually, if the CDC violates it, you can actually cite that in an inmate appeal and then take that to the courts and try to remedy your situation if it's wrong. So for an example, if you were caught with a weapon, I believe that's a 10-month SHU term. You go to the SHU for 10 months. Most of the time, you're not going to leave ad seg because the SHU bunks were more precious, and it's easier to house you in the ad seg and have you do your SHU term there for something like that, right? And then, say for your first stabbing, you would get a 15-month SHU term. Second one, you would get 24. For murder, I believe it's 5-year SHU term. So they have, you can look it up, okay, boom, you get busted for whatever it is, you can open up the Title 15 and there it is. And unless it's aggravated or mitigated, but everything's there. It'll have what's going to be expected, when it's mitigated, when it's aggravated, it's all there for you. In the California Youth Authority, they did what they wanted, when they wanted, to who they wanted. And it goes back to the whole psychopathic experiment that it was, And I can tell you this, that so as you know, or as you may have heard, in the California Department of Corrections, there's ad seg, administrative segregation, which is like the county jail within the prison. And then you have the SHU, which would be the prison within the prison. Well, in YA, you have the same thing. You had the box, what they call the box, which is their basically, county jail. And then you had the IWP, which is like the jail inside the jail, the prison inside the prison. Going to the box, you get in a fight or whatever it is, you're going to go to the box for 24 hours and come back out. If you're a knucklehead, maybe they extend it to 7 days. And after 7 days, they review it. And maybe they add another 3 days on it. But normally your longest stint you were going to have, unless you're waiting transfer, 10 days, right? And that's usually for something serious. And then they decide what they're going to do with you from there. To get to the IWP, when I was in Paso, I was in IWP. Yeah, over there, the IWP building is called Cambria. Those of you that were in Paso know. I was in Cambria 2 times, okay? And unlike the Department of Corrections, where you have the specific SHU term for this rule violation and you go to the SHU, usually they wanted more than a year to go to the SHU because it can house you in ad seg. But to get a SHU term, it's already in the Title 15. To go to the IWP, in YA, especially in Paso. I was in Paso and TS. The IWP and YTS was called the Rock. It's O&R building, right? I was never in the Rock, but in Paso, I was in Cambria twice, and I can tell you right now, if you went to Cambria in Paso, it wasn't for one thing. Unless you killed somebody, then yeah. But it wasn't for one thing. It was for multiple things. You had to be somebody that the institution said, there's nothing we can do with this guy. They had to believe, like, you need to be housed in that specialized unit until you can program, right? And so they had the little starter kit where you may get sent for a 30-day tryout, basically. So I went, the first time I did the 30-day thing, right? And I got off for 2 weeks, and they sent me right back, okay? And then it's a 3-month term that you can extend. I'm getting into shit. And I'm going to tell you right now, my whole time in Paso Robles, that institution, nothing compared to Cambria. In any other unit, if there was an incident, the cops would hit the alarm. Vans would come. Whoop, whoop. All the vans would come to break it up, right? In Cambria, the only time they hit the button was for a staff assault. And Cambria was set up so different to where there was not going to be no woofing. There was not going to be, we'll call it trolling, what people know as trolling now. You are not going to be on your cell door writing checks you can't cash, because you know what happens? If a guy 4 cells down from you starts talking to you in a foul way, come shower time in the morning, nobody has to even say anything. The cells in between my cell and your cell, or your cell and his cell, will say, they're going to refuse their shower. Why? Because you guys wrote some checks that everybody wants to make sure you can cash. So they'll open your door. Everybody, nah, I'm good. I don't want to shower. Next guy, I don't want to shower. I'm good. Till they can make sure that the other, because they only take 3 to a shower at a time. They uncuff. They open your door. You step out. You got your hands behind your back. You step across the tier from your cell, and there's going to be you and 2 other people. And then the cops will say, take it to the shower. You guys turn, and that's when you square up. The cops weren't interested in breaking it up immediately. Not in Cambria. You're going to get down until somebody is clearly the loser, and then the cops get to have their fun. Pick you up, slam you on your head. That's the way you catch time. The better way to do it, which was always allowed, is you go to yard, because they did have yard groups, and you tell the senior, his name was Big Ed. Those of you that were there, you remember Big Ed. Big Ed didn't want to be in no other unit but Cambria. Say, hey, Big Ed, when you get a chance, can I talk to you? He's going to know immediately. You don't talk to Big Ed unless it's to get down. He'll be like, okay, go to yard, I'll call you in. He'll call you in and you tell him, hey, check this out. This dude over here got a big mouth, man. I want to get down with him. I don't even want to do it in the open. There's no point in catching time. And he'll ask, does he feel the same way? Yup. And he'll say, okay, go back to the yard. He's going to call that dude out of his cell and ask him, hey, do you guys have an issue you need to settle? And he's going to say, yeah. I say, okay. They're going to lock him in the day room, call you back out from the yard, open the door, lock you both in the day room, and say, let me know when you're done. And you and that guy are going to be in there chunking them until somebody says, I'm good, Holmes. And then he's going to bring in the mop bucket. You're going to clean up the blood, and he's going to give you a candy bar, and another guy a candy bar, and say, I hope you guys are done. Yeah, it was different, man. You had to have established yourself, your name, a reputation, and why, not only amongst the population, but amongst the Juras, as this dude is not bullshitting to get into Cambria. And that's why it was a different thing. It's unfortunate. I always say this, man. You know, I don't tell these stories to glamorize anything. My YA stories, whenever I talk about YA, it's always because I want people to understand how terrible of an experience, an experiment that was. Those of you that are that were in the neighborhood at the time, you know, in the 80s and 90s, and you had your homeboys paroling, what do they say? Oh, that Vato's fucking got that YA mentality. That's a YA baby right there. When somebody got called a YA baby, you knew, oh, he's with it. That dude's on another level. He ain't tripping, you know, because I'm gonna tell you, everybody that I was in YA with, we swore to God when we got out of YA and we went to the neighborhood, we were the baddest dudes alive. I was a skinny little kid when I paroled, and you couldn't convince me that anybody could whip me. You couldn't convince me that I couldn't, you know, unfortunately kill whoever I wanted and do whatever I wanted. That was the mindset of YA. Oh, that fool's hard. I'm gonna get down with them then. That's what we did. And so when we got out, unfortunately, we didn't value anyone else's life because we didn't value our own. So there's my story. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like, leave a comment, and share the video with somebody you think would like it. Everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them, right? I'm out.